Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man, Michael Angelillo. What's up, cuz? How we doing, man?
Good, man. We got out of Kansas City with a victory. Had some
Yeah, that was.
pretty good barbecue. Can't complain too much.
Yeah, you were down
Phillies
there at the game. You're.
Phillies clinched the division. There's a lot of good sports stuff going on right now. A lot of good
Yeah,
sports
that
stuff.
was, bro. So I had a long weekend last weekend. Went out
Mm-hmm.
Friday night for a birthday party. Was up till 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Then Saturday, I went to the Phillies game last Saturday. I saw my first time seeing the Drowan Duran entrance live and in person.
Awesome.
And then that Sunday, I went over to my buddy's house to watch. We watched Man United in the morning, in the AM, into Red Zone, and then into the Eagles game. And
Nice.
that was, yeah, dude. So I have some takes. I may be a little biased about because a certain team and a certain player got like shadow benched because of his fumbling problems that cost me about $1,300. Not very happy about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeesh.
We're gonna talk about it. Spoiler: it's the CEO head coach bowl. We'll talk about that game later on in the show when we do the picks. But Michael, I gotta stay positive, or else I'm gonna lose my sanity at 9:20 on a Saturday morning. Obviously, great things going on right now. Phillies, National League East champions, only team in the National League that's clinched their division.
Only team in baseball that's clinched their division as of right now. The American League is all up for no one in the American League has even clinched a playoff spot as it stands.
Yeah, you sent me so when you sent me the text about the odds-on favorite to win the World Series, obviously now the Phillies are the odds-on favorite. Then you saw the Mariners. I was like, Mariners? And then I checked the standings. I haven't checked the standings in a little while. They won 9 of their last 10 games, Michael, despite the fact that their big trade deadline acquisition, Eugenio Suarez, has basically done nothing since being traded back to the Mariners.
Yeah, the American League is it's quite interesting at the moment. You have Toronto, who's like 3 games up on everybody else, but they still haven't clinched yet because they're 3 up on the Yankees, who are the second best record in the American League. The Red Sox 5 back, not totally out of it yet. Um, but again, no official clinching. The Guardians have gone on a pretty ridiculous tear to the point where now they're only 2.5 games, yeah, 2.5 games back of the Tigers for the AL Central, and the the Tigers have now lost 4 in a row, and the Guardians are winners of 8 straight, and they continue their series against the Twins this weekend, so they can make a division push as they stand a game and a half out of the wild card. And occupying that last wild card spot are the Houston Astros, who are a game behind the Mariners for the AL West lead. But it feels like that division, they're in the middle. Those two teams are
Well,
in
they
the middle of
coughed up
playing
the
each
lead in
other.
that division because the Mariners are just so hot.
Well, they're playing each other this weekend, so, that could either grow up from 1 to 4 before you know it, or the Astros can flip it back and take the lead back themselves, but whichever one of those teams loses that division lead, they gotta worry that Cleveland's so hot that Cleveland might steal that last playoff spot from them, so very, very tight race in the American League. It's about as wide open as the American League kinda has been in sort of some time. Last year, I guess, was pretty wide open too, but this year definitely feels very wide open out there in the AL.
Yeah, man, we'll talk about baseball just in a little bit. I do want to bring this up though. So obviously, we really talk a lot about Sixers, Phillies, and Eagles on this show, but Flyers, man, like I feel like now, I mean, the last 2 years we just complained about the Flyers pretty much nonstop. Maybe last 3 years,
Yeah,
actually,
last year was
probably actually since
positive.
the whole time this show has existed. Actually, now that I think about it, they've been pretty bad. Anyway,
last year was positive just because of Matt Bay, but
not
Tortorella
really.
did a good job to. Well, I mean, like
Not
he
really,
was
because
a positive we
apparently,
talked about.
apparently, like the Flyers head coach the last couple years was, you know, it's like Saddam Hussein, aka John Tortorella.
I mean, my thought is like, who could be surprised by this news? Yeah, it's not great when the leading stories out of training camp are Sean Couturier saying he's had more conversations with Rick Tocchet over the last, like, 2 months than he had with John Tortorella in his 3-year tenure as the Flyers head coach. Like, that's just I whether Tortorella was going to be a good coach or not, I really can't fathom no matter what your coaching style is, if you wanna be old school, hard on the players or whatever, you can't go you can't barely talk to your captain. I don't know, like, he's the captain of the team. You can't go without communicating with him and, like, keeping things open between you 2, and we knew that it was, like, shaky at best, but to find out that it's really been that bad, pretty revealing. Cam York also had some stuff to say, like, a lot less NASCAR laps, so that's pretty telling as well, that the players are very happy to not have to do his conditioning routine with the big rope and skating around, especially considering it's not like the Flyers were some greatly in shape team last year. It's not like you felt like, "Oh, man, the Flyers just keep giving more. They're not tired." Like, no, like, they would run out of gas the end of the year like they always do, and, you know, they kinda get out grinded at times. So, yeah, regardless of what we think about Rick Tocchet in terms of, like, you'd mentioned, in over our text or whatever, scheme-wise or, like, actual on-ice ideologies, whether that's a good or a bad thing coming from him, you hear more negative from hockey people, but it'll remain to be seen. The big positive that he does bring is just an ability to connect with his players, and I feel like at the very least, you might get a little Rob Thompson from Joe Girardi juice from the players, where they're just happy to be freed from such an awful manager/coach. slash coach.
I do feel like though. I agree. I do think like we.
That's, like, at a minimum what you're gonna get, you know?
I think you're kind of seeing why the Flyers moved so quickly to hire Rick Tocchet as their head coach.
Sure.
I think I think Danny Briere saw how bad the culture was, and he didn't hire John Tortorella. By the way, that was Chuck Fletcher
No.
who hired him, and I think you saw that like John Tortorella and Danny Briere. I don't think they got along.
Yeah, there were Danny started making comments that were, like, a little head scratchy, I guess you could say, in terms of, like, revealing the dynamic between the 2. Um, and I think that, like, I don't know, I think that kinda laid it on pretty thick there.
And I think now, I think especially with Rick Tocchet, you see the videos, like you see him with Matt Vey practicing one timers. Like I was like
Mhm.
Rick Tocchet was a very popular player in Philadelphia.
Sure.
He was considered like when he was a player, he was considered like one of those like glue guys, great locker room leader types.
Mhm.
So from having him leading this team, I think the term I'm hearing is, oh my god, he's actually teaching us things, which really is mind blowing with Tortorella because
Mhm.
like it's almost like the like I think now this is the actual start of the rebuild. When I know like no one wants to hear that, but you saw the Flyers released a video. They were like brick by brick,
It was
like
a little, like, hype video, yeah.
right. So like look,
They're just trying to rebuild they're trying to rebuild the brand because the Flyers brand has fallen just from such grace from back in, like, probably the grace kind of fell apart after, like, the early 2000s, post Lindros, the grace has really the positive light, the Flyers crest was looked at across the league, kind of fell off after that. Um, and you're just trying to get back to being respected across the league, you know? I'm sick of seeing those charts that are like ranking NHL teams by franchise success. And it's like the Flyers like live in like that B tier where it's like, oh, they've won like the sixth most games, something ridiculous. They've been to like the fourth most Stanley Cups, but then it's like they only have two, like the same as like, you know, they have less than Sidney Crosby has as a player. You know, they have as many as the crummy Florida Panthers. Like that's just embarrassing, you know, like that just the Lightning, you know, it has have more. So it's just a frustrating situation and hopefully this is just at least a step in the right direction. Whether you're,
Right,
you know,
I do.
gonna
I,
lead
I
somewhere,
do.
just gotta get
I
out of the depths.
I agree. Michael, I agree with you 100%. I'm excited as well. Uh,
I am excited. I was thinking like, you know, I miss watching Matvey Michkov play hockey. Like
I
that's
dude, I was
I was
thinking the
getting
same thing.
those itches.
I'm
Yeah.
like, God, I was like, gosh, man, I feel like on like a Tuesday, you're like, man, you know what would be really good right now? It would be some Flyers hockey. I could
It's
watch.
totally true. It's you're
It's just gonna.
still
I will say this. I have the feeling when we're gonna watch, when we talk about the Flyers, we're gonna be like, man, Mitch Cobb looks so good. Like, man, Tyson looks so much better now that, like, I don't know, the offense is more free flowing. But we lost 5-4 because our goaltending is the worst.
listen, you can live with that though. Like the Flyers weren't fun to watch and they'd still lose in a similar way. Now you can get a little more fun to watch at least. And I agree with you with that like Tuesday point. You know, we're still baseball's still going around, but we're getting a taste of it as the Phillies are on their West Coast trip right now. So like these games aren't first pitch till 9:40, 10:10 against the Dodgers. And it's like you're sitting there on a Tuesday, no football on, and you're sitting there post work for like 4, 5 hours roughly, I guess, you know, depending on what your schedule is until first pitch, that it's like, man, it'd really be nice for a 7:05 puck drop, Flyers, you know, whoever, Flyers Bruins or something to latch onto before the Phillies game starts because that's what it'll become. Once baseball's over, once November rolls around, it's, you know, you have football, NFL football 3 days a week. You have your college football throughout some of the other days, and then between those days is very, very little, uh, marquee big games. So that's where you need your, you know, your good hopefully, you know, Embiid's looking a little skinnier, you know, just gonna put that out there,
With ice on his knee.
and
Not,
then, you know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Flyers
I
hockey to
don't
fill
want to
that
have. I
void.
don't
We're
have the
not gonna
meme
talk
attached
about
to
it, we're
me.
not gonna talk about it,
I don't
we're
want to have
not
the
gonna
meme
talk
attached to
about
me
it.
where it says "fell for it again" award.
Listen, I'll proudly put that pin on again for the six.
How tall? So
But anyways,
yeah, yeah. Like the only
let's
other
get into the
Sixers thing I
baseball
could think
team.
of is
No.
Dwayne Wade standing next to VJ Edgecombe, and Dwayne Wade's only 6'4". So how tall is VJ Edgecombe supposed to be?
I thought he was supposed to be like 6'4". I thought that was right. Is he 6'5"?
He is 6'5".
Okay. Listen, I saw someone do a picture of Edgecombe and Embiid, and they put Dwayne Wade and Heat Shaq next to each other. I was like, you know what? I'll take it. You know
He's
what?
with Tyrese Maxey in that equation,
Listen, if we could have two Dwayne Wades, that'd be awesome, right?
right? Um,
But anyways, let's get into the baseball team. The Phillies over the this is a longer gap than usual because we had our Tuesday show last week. But over this long stretch of time, they clinched the division Monday night in LA against the Dodgers. And what was like, if an objective baseball fan, that was about as classic as a game as it gets. A lot of home runs, a lot of big home runs from big players off the bullpens. Felt like the Phillies were gonna, you know, win a nice game, but then Kerkering gives up the home run, but then Bryce answers back with his own go ahead. Felt like a moment. Duran shakes off JT. Every pitcher that comes through here feels like they learned that lesson the hard way. and he hangs the 0-2 curveball to Pages, who ties the game up. And then in the 10th, the Phillies grind out a run, and David Robertson walks the tightrope to get the save, and they back-to-back NL East champions, John, for the first time since 2010, 2011.
Yeah, I have
That's
some
awesome, man. Like,
right.
it's very easy to just be like, "All right, that's cool, just a step in the direction, though. We're trying to win the World Series," all that sort of stuff. Yes, all that's true, but, I think people forget the conversations we were having in, like, 2021, for example, when it was, like, late August and the MLB playoff picture was snapshotted and the Phillies were, like, 5 out of a wild card, but they were in the graphic, and it was like, "Listen, man, Phils could be playing. Phils are hot." Like, we were so thirsty for just the taste of the playoff logo being put next to the Phillies logo that we're getting excited about being 5.5 out of a wild card with, like, a month and a half to play, and it's like, to be that starved again is not a state that I ever want to be in with any of my sports teams. So all this to say, you still can't take these sort of things for granted. It's a long grind season. You can never take winning the division for granted. You can never take making the playoffs for granted.
Well,
And
so the
it is
national
something
yeah,
that deserves to be celebrated.
the National League East has existed since 1969. The Phillies have only won the National League East 13 times, including this past week. So,
Hmm.
yes, Michael, I would agree with you. It's something you should not just take for granted. Yeah, it's crazy. I've actually probably seen the Phillies win half their NL East titles, and I'm only 36 years old. That's crazy. That's really
I mean,
crazy.
between the two of our lives, what do we have? A difference of one?
No.
What year were you born?
Oh, 88. Oh, I seen them in 93. I didn't really remember them in
93. Yeah.
93. That's it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
So you have one extra division title in that lovely
I
time
don't even
frame.
remember it.
So
So, yeah, man.
exactly. Yeah. So
Right.
that's,
I don't even remember it. So,
God. So
but
it's
like,
nice to win the division, man. It's nice to celebrate against a good it's nice to beat a good team to get the division too, the team you're kinda competing
right.
with
It
for a
sucks.
bye.
You wish you would have been here, because so you could see like a preview of what October is going to look like with them,
Listen,
I think.
I'm honestly I'm impressed with they've just been playing really, really good baseball for, a while now, since the trade deadline, really. But, like, Trey goes down, and they've been really, really good since that injury as well. Like, they really have embodied the sorta next man up mentality. They're really just every time they're facing adversity this season, they really are taking it by the horns and just making it their own. They're not letting these bad things pile up and bleed into their mission and into their success. It'd be very easy. It would have been very easy when Wheeler went down to kind of pout and like roll over a little bit and be like, "Man, like this just sucks. We lost our guy." And then it would be really easy when Trey went down to be like, "Well, we just got to get in the playoffs, I guess, and hopefully he's back for that." Like, but no, whether it's Bryson Stott's been playing shortstop pretty regularly too, because Edmundo Sosa also went down with a groin injury. So it's a lot of injuries piling up for the Phillies that it seems like they'll all be back before the playoffs start. Alec Boehm also going down with an injury, who had a nice day yesterday in his return. They just they just keep kind of doing what they got to do. They keep winning. They keep hitting. They're hitting really, really well right now.
So
They're
I
pitching
want
well.
to talk about, yeah, I agree, man. They've been playing much better, especially with the injuries.
Hmm.
And well, I had a question for you earlier this week. I needed you to think about because I want to make you squirm a little bit on air.
Oh boy.
But we'll save that for just a moment. So there is one guy on the Phillies that we have never mentioned on this show. I don't think, who I think deserves credit because everyone just talks about Dave Dombrowski because he's the president of baseball operations, but that he does have someone that works under him. And when you look at a lot of the roster movement over the past year since he took over as the general manager over Sam Fold, I think Preston Manningly deserves a lot of credit
Totally.
for some of the moves they've made. Obviously, acquiring Jesus Luzardo in the offseason, that was big. He's been pitching. I mean, I'm very curious if you take out his those two meltdown starts where he gave up 20 earned runs over two starts.
His ERA is like sub 3 if you remove those, like FIP isn't everything, but it is like a decent indicator on things. His FIP is very good. It's less than 3, and his ERA is still above 4. And it's like, I don't should they have left him out there in the 8th inning to give up a home run? No. But it's like your point is that every acquisition that the Phillies have made that was not like nothing has worked out this season.
There's
pretty
only one
much.
that hasn't worked out, and it's Jordan Romano. Max Kepler has been one of the hottest hitters on the team since the beginning of August.
Yeah, Max Kepler, they held on to.
Luzardo, obviously. I mean, obviously the midseason acquisitions of Joan Duran, like no duh, he's the best closer in baseball.
Harrison Bader,
which look, a lot of people hated that move. A lot of people now, typical Philadelphia fashion, people bitch about them getting this guy, bitch about everything, and now like, oh my god, like how can you not love Harrison Bader? People that were like fire. And listen, I've ripped Dave Dombrowski. You know me, Michael. I'm not like carrying water for this guy. I was like, for like the fact that no one was shopping any bats at the deadline, it was all pitching.
Right.
I was like, he might be like the best bat that got moved,
Yeah, no, listen, yeah, exactly. And like, it just, Rob is very much pushing like almost all the right buttons at this. And also like David Robertson, another guy that they added that was like a decent chunk of change. It wasn't totally nothing, and he's been very, very good for the Phillies and really has also helped to stabilize out that bullpen. You know, got to give a lot of credit to that Tanner Banks trade a couple years ago. That trade was seen as such a nothing move, and he's been awesome. He's been probably your best guy out of the bullpen that comes in with runners on base easily this year. He seems to work out of every jam. He did it again last night, getting a pop out, coming in with the bases loaded and 2 outs, and they deserve a lot of credit for the team that they've built. And Rob Thompson deserves a lot of credit for the way that he's been managing the team and the way that he's been running the lineup and the platoon. And even though maybe the communication with Nick Castellanos isn't as good, I can understand how that could be a difficult conversation to have and kind of wanting to avoid it. But it's kind of working, man. I don't know. Like Nick Castellanos, since this whole platoon situation has started, has kind of found his way out of his slump. I don't know. And it's like one of those things where I don't think playing him every day would result in him just going on this ridiculous hot stretch. I think a big part of what's helping him, even if he doesn't totally want to believe it, is I think just being off his feet a little bit. He's not some spring chicken anymore. And
yeah, I was just about to say that. I remember
they played him, John, how many games in a row? You're trying to, call him Cal Ripken for playing every day. And I agree. I give credit for staying healthy and playing every day. But at the same time, dude, when you're struggling a little bit and you're a little bit older and you visibly each year are getting a little bit slower in the outfield, I'm sure it's nice for on your body to just kind of be sitting for a few games in a row or sitting multiple times throughout the course of a week. So then when you're coming out there and you're fresh, you have a game like last night where you're not even starting, but you come pinch hit against a lefty in the 5th inning. Even if you strike out the first time, you come through with a double and a homer.
Would you like to? I want to put into perspective how long Nick Castellanos has been playing Major League Baseball for you. Michael Vick was the Eagles' starting quarterback
when he came to the league. Sure, dude, he was the third baseman.
That's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago. Like, it's a super long time ago. Big shout out to Casty. He got his 250th home run last night. Huge milestone. Good for him. The media asked him some pretty brutal questions last night.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Frustrating. It's like it felt like it was a bit. Like he just went on Mookie Betts' podcast and talked about how the media asks these like loaded questions to get answers out of it, and then that's exactly what they go and do. They push about Rob Thompson's communication, and Nick kind of lays it out there that Rob doesn't talk to him much. Um, Todd Zalecki asked who, and I love Todd Zalecki, and the fact that he's going around asking these sort of questions is pretty insane. And he's asking him, oh, have you given thought about the fact that you might not be on the team next year or whatever? And it's like, and he gives good for Nick Castellanos. What the hell it's I think that's wrong of me to be thinking about next year and being selfish when we get something right in front of us. And then he goes, well, you sound unhappy. And he's like, well, that's just creating a narrative, which is true. Like, I think that the media last night with him was ridiculous. Like, they could have really just showered him and made it easy with like, congrats on 250. What does it feel to hit this milestone? Only X amount of players have what all that sort of stuff.
Michael, I do kind of, yeah, because
But they had to push it like, I know it's been hard for you. Is it still really hard for you? Have you come around to the idea? Whatever, whatever. Like, stop trying to get him to get whether the answer is like, yeah, I've come around to it. I'm just happy to help, or, I do want to be in there every day. Like, he said the hardest part is not seeing my name in the lineup every day. Like, that's the hardest part of this situation because he wants to play every day, and that's fine. But it's like,
yeah,
even
I
Scott
thought he
Fransky and
already answered
Ruben
these
did it.
questions. He already was asked about it like last week.
That's what I'm saying. How many more times are you gonna ask him about it? Like, his answer's not gonna change, and he gave it. He's here. He's being paid to be here to help the Phillies win a World Series, and no matter
I
what
do
way
think it
that
is
is asked of
it is
him.
annoying. I do think though, like I kind of have a theory why they were bugging him. I think this team is very much locked into the postseason. This is the first time I've ever seen them like really this like locked into the postseason, where like maybe Bryce doesn't was like I don't want to talk to the media, or like Bryce or JT, even like Marsh, because Marsh is like psycho. He's probably good for a soundbite, you would imagine, right? No, and like guys, I don't
Well,
want to talk.
They know Nick's good for a soundbite, so
Hey,
that's what they
they
do.
know Nick's good for a soundbite, so that's why I keep bugging him.
It's just frustrating because I don't know.
It is
This
frustrating too, but I think it's I guess my point is like you saw like I mean, come on, man, like Garrett Stubbs is there. When like if you're trying to fish for something, right? I would go to Garrett Stubbs and be like, "Yeah, Garrett, what do you think about like the postseason?" And he's probably all excited because he's been riding the bus for the last 5 months of the
it's just
and have
I
him
don't
say
know.
something
I think
dumb
that
like he did 2 years ago with the beanbag.
it's just stupid. I don't know. I think the
Like,
media
hey,
needs to
Garrett, you thinking
relax.
about jumping in the pool after the game?
Yeah, like that would just be dumb. All of that would be stupid. I
No, but
think that
how's that? What I'm saying is, how's that different than you trying to fish? Like, I gotta be like Michael. I gotta be 100% transparent. I don't think fans care about Nick Castellanos' career, like what he's doing next year.
no,
That's why I
I
think
mean,
it's dumb. Like, that's not,
well, it's dumb because you're trying to get an answer out of them, like to see, yeah, no, I thought about it. I know it's a possibility that I'm not going to be here, but I'm going to do everything I can to help this team win. Like that sort of, I don't even know what you're going for. I think that the best thing that they could be
you
going
think it's a
for.
little. They're trying to be a little Pablo Torre ish with
I
the
mean, I guess it
investigative
just, I
journalism.
think they just need to. I don't know. I think everyone just needs to relax and just ask, like, let this team focus on winning a World Series. I think you can compliment this team a lot, and like
Well, the
even with
press
the
is
Wheeler
they
injury,
have to ask questions. But I agree with you. Like,
a guy hits his 250th home run, and you want to give him 6 questions about what he thinks about still not playing every day, and it's like he hasn't been playing every day for a month or so now. We know that. Well, why are we still talking about it like it's
I
something
mean,
so
if
fresh? And we know
Castellanos
how
is
he
going to be
feels
that
about
much,
it.
if
That's
he
not
was
going to
that much of a
change.
locker room cancer, like we've seen it
Yeah,
with
but
the
he's
Phillies.
not. I don't.
Well,
He's not a locker room
well,
cancer.
that's what
Like,
I'm saying. Well, like no, my point is like if he was as bad as they're trying to fish for, it's not like they sent him away for 3 weeks and then he just came like randomly out of the blue, and then he just came back or something.
no, the issue with his personality and relationship is all with Rob Thompson. Like, those two clearly butt heads or avoid each other at all costs. And I think that's as far as that goes. I think the players all really like him, players are all really close with him, but him and Rob don't see eye to eye. Like, I don't think Rob Thompson wants to try to explain to it like, what manager is you talk about transparency or whatever, pulling a player aside and letting him know what's going on. If you pull in Nick Castellanos, you're like, "Listen, man, like, you're gonna be we're gonna be kinda running a platoon here with you and Max. Like, versus righties, he's gonna be in there, versus lefties, you're gonna be in there." And if he says, like, "Well, why?" I don't think Rob Thompson is in the business of going on however long of a tangent it's gonna be to try to convince Nick Castellanos to himself that, "Hey, man, you're just not that good anymore." Do you think, like, Rob would feel great about himself if the end of that conversation finished with Nick Castellanos leaving his office like, "Man, Rob thinks I kinda blow now, and, like, that's why I'm not playing every day." Like, he's gonna say, "I hit 270 and I don't make any errors in the outfield." Like, I don't understand. And if he doesn't wanna, like, kinda look into the advanced stats that kinda show that he's not the player he used to be, I I don't think you're I don't think you're gonna get to a resolution where there's satisfied parties on both sides when the end result is would probably have to be to make it truly clear why he's not playing, it would have to be Rob Thompson convincing Nick Castellanos and showing him, "Hey, man, you're just not that guy anymore." And I don't know how good that is for, like, his morale, as opposed to letting him just kinda be bothered that he's not playing every day, but still showing up to work and believing in himself. I don't know. They're winning games, they're a really good team, they have the odds-on favorite to win the World Series. I don't think there's a reason that the media should be trying to pry a little bit. That is what it is, but they'll finish up this West Coast trip in Arizona with a chance to bury the D-backs, with a chance to gain some ground on the
Well, I
Brewers
think it
as
would
they
be nice
currently
to
sit
take 2 out of
2
3 in
back.
a place that has been legitimate hell for the Philadelphia Phillies
I mean,
because
they could bury Arizona for sure.
right, but it would feel good for me now that the Mets. I think the Mets are going to make the playoffs. I know they're only 2 games up. I don't
Only
know.
2 and 3 up, man. Like, if the Diamondbacks or the Reds get hot for, like, a week and the Mets go through another rut, like, they're gonna be tied. Like, the Phillies, though, they got their sights. They're 5 up on the Dodgers for the 2 seed, so more likely than not, the Phillies are going to get themselves a bye. However, 2 games behind the Brewers, and I think that is really what you should be pushing for. I personally would much rather face the Cubs or the Padres in the NLDS versus playing potentially one of these, like, rat 6 seed teams that are, like, hot entering the playoffs or something. Like, I don't wanna face Arizona in the best of 5 if they do get hot and steal the last spot for them from the
Yeah,
Mets.
but Michael, the Phillies have been one of the hottest teams in baseball, despite the fact that
I
a
listen, I get all that. I don't wanna play some significantly inferior team that had to play their best baseball just to get in. Versus like, it's just it's way too commonplace with this new playoff format that those sort of teams at least get to the championship
but I would say
series.
if one team desperately needs this buy to buy a few days to get healthy, I think it would be the Phillies.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna get it. Like that I don't know exactly what that magic number's at, but they're 5 up on the Dodgers. That magic number can't be very high at this point.
Yeah, well, remember last year the Dodgers, everyone's like, "Oh my god, the buy! Oh my god, the buy!" Didn't really affect the Dodgers a whole much last year. Now did it?
No, and I think the Phillies, the second time around with the bye, you kinda, you get a better vibe for it. It's like the thing is too is it's not like the bats were some sort of hot last year for the Phillies when the bye came around and it was like, "Oh, the bye killed the momentum." It's like, dude, the Phillies had like no momentum entering the regular season. This year they actually do have some momentum, but I think the whole bye killing momentum or gaining I think that's all overstated. Like I think the Phillies are going to be playing good ball
I
pretty much
think
up
it
until the end of
seems
the
when they
season,
shut it down the last 2 weeks of the year heading into the bye, that's what kills your momentum more than the buy
playing
itself.
through it. Yeah, like the Phillies, the only adjustment they're going to do really is just kind of line up their rotation so they have Christopher Sanchez ready to go game one in the division series, and then everything else will be able to kind of figure itself out.
Because
So
even the Dodgers last year, like go entering the bye, like Otani was trying to be go 50-50.
yeah, they were the Dodgers were pushing it, man. They were trying to hold off the Phillies for the one seed. Like that wasn't by accident or whatever. They didn't want to play the Mets potentially in a best of five. You know, so you
Okay,
gotta give credit. Phillies are playing good ball.
all right. You've been way too nice, so now I need to make you squirm, and
Oh boy.
I need to make you squirm. Okay, so obviously Trey Turner when he comes back, like it's gonna. He's I don't like. Actually, I'm gonna ask you two questions. So the Phillies offense has been really been hot with Harrison Bader batting leadoff because he just doesn't get out now for some reason. It's kind of
Hmm.
mind blowing. I think I think wherever you bat Bader, he's just going to produce. So obviously, when
Sure.
Trey comes back, Trey's going to get back into the leadoff spot.
Yeah, I don't think they're switching up the top three when Turner gets back. Like it's
Right.
gonna be
Or
Turner, Schwarber, Harper.
Topper may get creative against the lefty, where he's going to stack as many righties, and he might have.
Not at the top of the order though. I still think he's keeping. I think he views it as sacrilege at this, not sacrilege, but like I don't think he's taking Schwarber or Harper or Turner out of hitting in the first inning and getting as many at bats as possible. I don't think there's ever a situation for me that I'd rather like Harrison Bader getting an extra at bat that's not Schwarber's or Harper's. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying they're going to get bumped down. I'm thinking like, are they going to bat Bader potentially like fifth,
Yeah,
fourth?
I think when Turner comes back, they're gonna lead off Turner, they're gonna go Turner, Schwarber, Harper, and then 4-5 is gonna be Real Muto, Bader in some capacity, whether it's Bader, Real Muto, or Real Muto, Bader. I think that's gonna be 4-5. I guess maybe that could be 4-6, and they have Marsh hit fifth, but I do think it would probably be better off to have Marsh hitting sixth. I listen, I know what you're getting at. You're gonna get to the third baseman. You're gonna get to Alec Bohm.
Yep, yep. We're
What
getting to
is
that.
listen, Alec Bohm yesterday had his classic Alec Bohm couple of hits that he had drove in 3 runs. He came up with the bases loaded, little flare 2-run single. That was some pretty big insurance. Um, I don't know. I don't think the playoffs definitely aren't gonna start with Bohm not being in the lineup. I think that's for sure. I don't know how short of a leash they're gonna have with him, where they're like, "Okay, we gotta get Otto in there," because I do think
Because
they
he got benched
value.
last year in the playoffs.
Right, and that I think was a lot of a mental thing, like him throwing a hissy fit less than more than it was him playing poorly. Like, if he wasn't slamming helmets and shit, I don't think he would've been benched. I think it was more they felt mentally he wasn't really into it. Um, I know it's crazy just to kinda say it like this, but, like, Bohm's a better third baseman defensively than Otto Kemp, like, pretty clearly. Otto Kemp is kinda rough over
Of
there.
course he is. I mean, my
So,
question.
I think that it would take a lot more than I think we might be willing to give for Bohm to be pulled, because as it stands, I feel like when Turner gets back, Alec Bohm could very well be hitting he's either gonna be hitting 7th or 8th, like, it just is what it is. If it's it versus a lefty, it'll probably be a little bit higher, but versus a righty, if he's in there, he's not gonna hit ahead of Bader, he's not gonna hit ahead of JT, he's not gonna hit ahead of Marsh. It's really just a matter on if he's gonna hit ahead of Kepler or not, and you could argue either way. So, there's a decent chance that he's your 8-hole hitter. So, how bad does your 8-hole hitter have to be for you to give, like, the undrafted rookie the shot in the postseason at a start, or Edmundo Sosa for that matter? But I do still think that you're gonna get a platoon with Sosa and Stott, even though Stott's been swinging a better bat. I still think that platoon's gonna exist. Um, but we'll see. I think it would have to take another mental breakdown for it to be quick, or it wouldn't you wouldn't see him maybe getting pulled until the second round that they play in.
I just mention it. The reason why I bring it up he's just been a horrible postseason player, and
Sure.
like if this is their best shot. Michael, this could be their best shot. We may see it for a while to win a World Series when you consider.
I think this is the best team.
Yes, this is their
Even
best
without
shot.
Wheeler. Even
Like we're
without
gonna look
Wheeler.
back at this and we're gonna say to ourselves, if they don't win the World Series, this was their best shot at winning the World Series. And if like Alec Boehm may go down and hit, there's, I'm just saying there is a possibility that we're gonna look at it and we're gonna be like, if we look back at like Philadelphia sports, like missed postseason opportunities, who was like the GOAT? Not the greatest of all time, like who was like the scapegoat or who was the guy like we point to and blame for playoff failures? The Sixers,
Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris. Um,
That's like a mix of Castellanos and Bohm. It's like both of them.
I would say Castellanos is giving you more in the playoffs than Bohm.
He for sure has, but, like, he's also given you 0. You know what I mean? Like, he
That's
was a
true.
0 in
Tobias is giving you
2022.
nothing. Tobias in the
Tobias
elimination game scored 0 points.
listen, Tobias had a really good Wizards series too,
Wow, really
and
good
Nick Ca
Wizard series. Wow.
yeah, and listen, and Nick
Oh, oh
Castellanos
boy.
had a really good, like, 3-game stretch in 2023. Damn it was really good, but it wasn't more than a 3-game stretch. It was
Well, the
games 3 and
Braves.
4,
Don't
and
forget the series against the Braves.
yeah, that was what? 2 games? And, like, granted, it's only a best of 5, so 2 games is pretty important, but, like, it
He
was
was the
2
only guy against
games.
the Mets that could get hits.
Again, 3 games. I get it, but, like, he had a home run in his first at bat of game 1 of the NLCS against the Diamondbacks, and then he went hitless. He had a horrible World Series. As much as Bohm has also been terrible, like, Castellanos has had some equally as drowning moments. So, yeah, like, there's a couple guys that you'd look to if they don't get this done, but they've kind of, like, blocked off Castellanos' path to really drowning this team with the platoon. I don't think they have the facilities to kind of fully do that with Bohm at the moment, and I don't think they have to as of now. I don't know. I think we won't see him not being in the lineup probably until the championship series if they get there. I think it would be like Bohm had 1 hit in the divisional round and is like 0 for through the first 2 games of the championship series. Let's just take him down. Like, he's not in the lineup today, and we're gonna see what we got with Otto or something. So, um, we'll see, but we can agree this is probably their best team, even without Wheeler, that they've had in the playoffs. But to think that without Zach Wheeler and with Aaron Nola not being at his best, they are
That's one way to put it.
still the best team that they've assembled entering the
So
playoffs. It's
today's
impressive.
game is the battle of the underperforming aces.
Yeah.
Zach Allen, who like the
He's
Diamondbacks
actually been
tried to
good since the
the Diamondbacks
deadline.
tried to trade him at the deadline, and nobody wanted him.
Right.
And Aaron
And
Nola,
he's been good since the deadline, but yeah. But we'll
right?
see later tonight. So, let's get into some football.
Let's
What do
just talk
you
about the
what do
big
you wanna
national
start with?
story.
Oh, okay.
All right, we need to talk about the. I guess there's a certain play that nets 1 yard that has triggered. I mean, let's just talk about it. It's the tush push, right? So the
Yeah,
Eagles.
so John, I said this during the game when I was there, as the f like, I'm seeing on Twitter, like, "Oh, they're moving, they're lining up offsides, the Eagles are in the neutral zone, the Chiefs are offsides," and I think the league made the call to, like, the officials saying, "Listen, we are going to call the tush push like garbage throughout multiple times this season. Don't throw flags that are obvious, over penalize it." Some like last this Chiefs game, they didn't throw 1 flag on it, and, like, there was a lot of penalties that were taking place that weren't called. This week, I feel like you might see a ton of flags on it, like, really, like, stopping momentum of the game to keep calling penalties for it. I think the league made the call to officiate it like garbage, so it's such a national talking point again where the safety isn't even brought up as a concern anymore. The play itself doesn't even really matter. It's more so like it's become even too hard for our officials to officiate it on. It's too hard to see what's going on. Like Jalen Hurts scored on the first tush push, but they didn't call it overturned because it was too hard to see. Like, how many of those are they going to keep getting wrong where it feels like it's pretty obvious that they're getting it wrong before it becomes so publicly backlash that even the owners that were on the fence are like, listen, if they can't call a play accurately, the refs that is, then it probably shouldn't be in the game. So yeah, I'd be shocked if the tush push makes it next year. I do think this is the last year of it, so I think the Eagles gotta abuse it. They gotta use it as much as they possibly can and try
I
to
think so. I
help
think
win
with this,
games with it.
so the I agree with you on that. The tush push to me, the tush push narrative, though, what I find interesting about it, it really speaks to how ineffective Roger Goodell is at right now as being the commissioner of the NFL in terms of like where the actual sport is going. Like a lot of people, like not to get all like big picture, right? Like the NFL is
Mhm,
going all these different streaming services. They're trying to move away from traditional television more and
mhm.
and move more to like streaming certain games. A lot of people are annoyed at that, right? I do feel like this whole tush push thing is a way to distract from the league. Shocker, trying to make more money and then make their sport more inaccessible to regular fans. I think, right?
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing though: once they get rid of it, like, okay, like, what, like for like, what's Roger Goodell going to do? Like, Roger Goodell, like, looked like an ass clown not being able to get it banned. I mean, Michael, when a commissioner of a sport wants something to happen, all the owners usually agree on it. Mostly, they mostly all unilaterally agree on it because this is what's best for the NFL.
Mhm.
This is right. We need to get rid of this play because we're concerned about safety, and I think a bunch of teams were like, well, like the teams that voted against it probably thought to themselves, well, what if we come up with something that teams can't stop? What, we're gonna have that ban too? Because Jerry Jones, who, I mean, let's face it, Jerry Jones was the person really leading the ban for the tush push. The Green Bay Packers were a proxy because they don't have an owner. So Roger Goodell picked them to promote to push
I mean,
it.
it was it wa
And so
I
Jerry
think
Jones pushed it, then everyone would collectively agree, oh, it's just the Cowboys taking a dump in their nappy because, they're an absolute joke and they're a punt, they're a joke and embarrassment, which was further proven 2 weeks ago when they traded Michael Parsons away for peanuts.
right. I mean, I don't know, I think this is less teams. The teams want it banned because the teams like, if a team genuinely
The
wants it
teams want
banned,
to ban and they're running the same damn play. You saw it on Thursday with the Bills.
if the teams want it banned, it's because they don't run it as well, and they wish they ran it better, and they can't stop it. Any other sort of heavy pushback, I think, is all coming from the league. Roger Goodell wants it out of the game. He doesn't want it. He doesn't like that a play can be close to guaranteed success, and it's pretty much the only play in the league that is as successful as it is, whether it's 100% or whether it's 92% or whether it's 85%, whatever the number actually is. He doesn't like that in some of the biggest situations of the game, a team has like an automatic first down or an automatic touchdown. Like, does Roger Goodell want, when it's fourth and goal at the 1 yard line in the fourth quarter of a 4-point game? He doesn't want the Eagles to just line up and push it and get it where like everyone has kind of already lost the luster and is assuming that they score anyways. He wants it to be like a handoff where maybe a defender breaks through the line immediately and hits Saquon in the backfield. He wants them to maybe have to throw it, and it's that exciting play. Like, from a pure excitement standpoint, a pure entertainment standpoint, I understand what he's getting at, where it's not the most exciting, entertaining play because it is so successful.
It's basically a quarterback sneak.
It is, and when it does get banned,
So
the
we
Eagles
should
are just
ban.
gonna run a
You know, we should,
quarterback
but
sneak,
yeah,
and
but
it's
if we're
probably
gonna
gonna get
follow,
a little bit worse.
yeah, but we're gonna follow that logic. Like, are we gonna ban quarterback kneel downs at the end of games when to bleed out the clock?
Like, no, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like, no, you're not, but it's just I think in from a competitive angle, it's extremely a farce to ban it because one team is only really successful at it. Not the whole again, we talked about the whole time. If the entire league was converting the tush push at a 90% success rate, I think it would be valid to ban because no one can stop it. It's unfair for everybody to
I
use.
think this tush push nonsense, like, talk, it really went into overdrive after the Eagles smoked the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Do you think Roger Goodell? I mean, I don't know if Roger Goodell has a rooting interest in an NFL team, but I think he loves the fact, especially when Taylor Swift started dating Travis Kelsey, that how much it was going to help get more eyeballs on the NFL. And the fact the Eagles just completely smoked the Chiefs. I don't know. It's weird. It's like
I just think it's play.
I think Roger Goodell wanted the Kansas City Chiefs to be the NFL version of the Splash Brother Warriors. And the fact that the Eagles completely like killed their aura essentially, which was already declining enough. It wasn't like the Chiefs at the height of their powers the Eagles beat, you know. It was like kind of a mid Chiefs team that got lucky in a lot of games and kind of, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I just I think this is less a vendetta on the Eagles sort of thing,
No, well,
and
Michael, there was a report. Adam Schefter reported last year that teams were sick and tired of seeing the Eagles do things so much better than other teams, manipulating the salary cap, the tush push,
yeah, no,
drafting
I
really well.
sure, sure, I get that. I just think that I think the league wants it banned from an entertainment perspective. They want if the Eagles are gonna go for it on 4th and 1 on their own 35, that it's not a play that, like, works 9 out of 10 times. Like, they want more excitement. Like, they don't want everyone to be like, "Oh, here we go again, just move the chains first down," and I get that, but it's just when it's one team that's really good at it, it's a user error. We'll talk like, when I think about what the Eagles do at practice, I don't think they run a lot of passes over the middle. I just don't think they practice it because there's no way that you would practice it and then just not run it in games. So, I don't think they practice it. What I do think they spend a lot of time practicing is the tush push. I think they've perfected it. They've practiced it so much and so hard that they know exactly how to line up. They know exactly when they wanna do it fast. They know exactly when they wanna do it slow. They know exactly Jalen knows exactly how to find, like, the path of least resistance to kinda fall that way to gain the forward yards. The guys behind him know when to give that second urge of a push. Like, I know teams don't practice as much as the Eagles do, and I know it can seem like a little like, "Oh, why would I need to practice it so much? Just practice it a few times, we get it." But it's why they're not as good at it as the Eagles are. Yes, the quarterback squats 600 pounds. Yes, one of the running backs that push him also squats like 600 pounds. Yes, the offensive line has some massive dudes that are helping push this whole thing forward. All that aids into the Eagles' success, but I do think a lot of it is they practice it a ton. You know what I mean? Like, it as much as it has to do with the personnel because you see it get stuffed with backup quarterbacks all the time with the Eagles, it is an art at this point. It's not just a mess put together. Like, they've got it to a point where it is down to a science and it's down to an art, and they're able to succeed at it so well because that's just how they go. They know what they're doing. So
Well, let me run this by you. It's not That's not why people were pissed. People around here were pissed when after the Eagles Chiefs, like after the aftermath of Eagles Chiefs, um, Chris Jones was really pissed off about it.
yeah,
Um,
he's been real salty recently.
he's been really salty. He's probably close to the end of his career, and I think he knows it. If there's
Right.
anyone on the Chiefs right now that's considered a cap casualty in the near future, it might be him.
I mean, he's like
Highest rates.
arguably he's like their second most important player. Like Chris Jones wasn't on that Chiefs defense. Yeesh. It would be
Right.
ugly.
He's also up, but he's also has like an obscene contract too.
No, I mean he's worth it. He's very good.
I mean, he's worth it. I don't know, but like you see with like the injuries and whatnot. Well, whatever. I mean, they got rid of a Hall of Fame interior offensive lineman this past offseason. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
I
It
mean,
could.
last year he was what, first team All Pro. Chris Jones finished 17th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, which that feels honestly a little low, but he was a first team All Pro. He's really good, like, but
I'm
he
not
was
saying he's bad. I'm
complaining.
just saying, like, dude, I'm just saying the Chiefs.
I don't think he's the first cap casualty, I guess is my point. He's
I
too
mean,
important.
they have unloaded Tyreek Hill because of money. They offloaded Joe Tooney because of money. I'm just saying it's not exactly. All I'm saying is this: is that it's a bad look when you're salty and you come off like a little baby, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially from a culture perspective too. You
Yeah.
know, like
No,
if
for
anyone,
sure.
right?
It just wouldn't happen. Like there is no
The
inverse of
big
it. It
one
wouldn't happen
is
on the Eagles.
the big one is um, this is what got me pissed off. Adam Schefter goes on ESPN, and we know Schefter is like Ken Rosenthal. They're both clowns, in my opinion. They basically run PR. They're not journalists. They're PR representatives that
For
get
the league,
fed.
yeah.
They get fed info by the league and then go on ESPN and like talk about it.
Right.
Like Ken Rosenthal, Astros Phillies World Series. Oh, the Astros. The Astros are coming off of so much adversity when they got caught cheating.
Right, right. So yeah, Adam Schefter went on Get Up and he essentially said the Eagles Chiefs game was won back in March. And when they didn't ban the tush push, the Eagles won this game. And he said I'm sure there's going to be a lot more games the Eagles play this year that are going to be won back in March. And it's like he's such a shill. And he's such a loser that like he goes on there and earnestly says that, and then like the rest of the panel kind of laughs because it's almost like, well, you can't be serious. Like this is kind of a joke, right? Like, haha, good one, Adam. But like he was dead serious. And then when the Fanatic has him on like once a week, and John Kincaid presses him about it, and he's like, I personally think there were a lot more important plays than any of the tush pushes the Eagles ran. Travis Kelsey dropping what would have been a touchdown into an interception that became a 14-point swing for the Eagles. Harrison Butker, their great kicker, missing a field goal that would have been quite helpful in a 3-point loss. And Andy Reid deciding to go for it on the first drive, opening the second half.
Calling the
On his own
slowest
35.
run.
Yeah, and it got blown up. So like you want to talk about before like touchdown drop to an interception to a touchdown the other way, 14-point swing. Harrison Butker missing a field goal -3 and then gifting the Eagles a free field goal +3 with a bad fourth down decision. I mean, that's, a 20-point like not swing necessarily, but like a 20-point like disparity on where the Chiefs potentially missed out on points and where the Eagles picked up on some points. And it's like, yeah, man, that's the reason they won, that the Eagles won the game, not because of the tush push that netted 5 yards for them. I totally agree. John, we talk about it all the time. Usually talk about it with the Chiefs, where when teams played New England and when teams played Belichick, what would usually happen? Those teams, those coaches would be staring across that sideline. They'd be looking at, like, Palpatine over there, and they'd be looking at Brady, and they start pissing down
Showing
their
like this
leg.
across the sideline with his arms
Yeah,
crossed, with
exactly.
the blank stare on his
And they and
face.
they start and they start pissing down their leg, and they start making uncharacteristic mistakes, and they choke games away. We've seen that with the Chiefs over the years, where you see Lamar make mind-boggling decisions, and you see players taking late hit out of bounds where it's like, that's just a stupid mistake. You see coaches totally freaking out and having disaster games against the Chiefs. See the 49ers with Shanahan, all that sort of stuff. Looks like, John, that the Eagles might be entering that sort of vibe right now, where teams against the Eagles are going to be pressing a little bit and maybe make some mistakes that are uncharacteristic. Travis Kelsey doesn't drop the ball all that much. He drops a ball that turns into a touchdown that they've probably scored on that
Correct
exact
me if
play
I'm
how
wrong.
many
Like,
times?
that was a bad drop, but I also kind of wondered, did he drop it maybe because he's an older player, he's in the red zone?
I mean, I just think he dropped it because he dropped it. Like,
Was
it
he ready
was
to get blown up on that play by like
I
Reed
mean,
Blankenship?
Makuba was coming over and he got the interception because it was tipped up. I bet he would have laid somewhat of a hit on him, but
That
I
was
mean,
very
we've
CJGJ of Bakuba, by the way, being in the
eh,
right place at the right time for an
no,
interception.
listen, that was, reminiscent to that was pretty much exactly like the Malcolm Jenkins 100-yard pick six against the Patriots. That was pretty much the exact same play. He was open, Mahomes put it there, he dropped it. That's a star player making a very uncharacteristic mistake against a good team. Andy Reid, even when he got to Kansas City, he got a little bit more aggressive with like fourth down situations and stuff, but it really it's never been in his character. The Chiefs went for it on fourth down like five times last year, all last year, and like they only went for two like twice all season long. Like very uncharacteristic for Andy Reid to kind of push things. And he felt that first drive out of the second half that they needed points so much so that he's going for it on his own 35 and it gets blown up in his face.
I
Uncharacteristic.
no, I agree. I was gonna say though, Michael, like I was thinking about that game. I'm like, I didn't think the Eagles were gonna. I think I picked the Eagles, but at like
We
game
picked the
time,
Eagles.
I thought to myself,
No, listen, I was pretty much a toss-up the entire game, like, pregame. I was like, "Yeah, I think the Eagles can win," but I wasn't super, like, full-blown confident that they definitely were gonna win. I was pretty much 50-50. I was like, "They might win, they might not win, it'll see how it looks," and the way the game kind of was shaken out for most of it, it was pretty ugly, man. So, do we wanna talk about the Eagles game, the Eagles-Chiefs game, like, a little more, I guess?
well,
Mostly
I
about
think
the
we've already.
offense.
I think we mostly talked about it. I think we should move into the picks.
Alright, so let's start us off. We had a Thursday night game that we saw the Bills defeat the Dolphins. However, the Dolphins did cover. But an 0-2 team at home against a 2-0 team. The Titans are at home against the Colts. The Colts are 4.5-point favorites. This is a pretty big swing. I'll be honest, John. Colts are very much, I think everyone's kind of saying it now at this point. They're very much giving the Saints of last year that started off 2-0 and they were breaking all these records and like didn't punt and Derek Carr looked awesome and everything was going great with New Orleans. And then they played the Eagles and the Eagles defense really did a good job that day. And then that kind of the Saints sort of spiraled after that. So do I think the Colts are actually good or do I think that this is just like a 2 week little like fun time? Probably not as bad as the Saints were last year, but I do not think they're as good as they've looked the first 2
I do
weeks. I
think
do
they're
think it's
partially
still Daniel
motivated by the
Jones.
passing of Ursay. I do.
Sure, and I think that carries a little bit of water.
I don't
I
know.
think
I still watch like some of the Daniel Jones tape, and everyone's like praising it, but he's still staring down. He's only making the one read, staring down his receiver. The only difference is he's got better talent around him and better coaching.
Yeah,
So
like,
I
I think
still
I
think,
have to take the Titans plus 4.5 at home here, right? Like, I just think
well,
if
like
they
the
do,
Titans have they had to play the Rams and the Broncos to start the season. They hung in for both games.
yeah, like, there you could
But they're missing
argue.
T'Vondre Sweat. That's big. He's probably their second best defensive player behind Jeffrey Simmons. That's pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And um
I'm taking Tennessee.
I do feel like there's a lot of points that the Colts are laying on the road. I agree. I'm taking the Titans as well.
Next game up, we have another divisional matchup. The Atlanta Falcons, uh, coming off of their Sunday Night Football victory against J.J. McCarthy. They're on the road to take on the Panthers, who are also looking for their first win. They had a much better showing in week 2 than they did in week 1, but Bryce Young threw the ball like, what, 50 times, um, that it took him to get his yards. So it was a better game for Young, but it wasn't a great game by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, they also looked
Atlanta
like they legit looked like they were going to be the worst team in football to start the year last year.
Yeah, Atlanta's laying 5.5 points on the road. Big part of me that just is like, just take Carolina at home to keep the game close, and I do think that's probably the best bet, but I think I have to go the other way. I think I'm gonna take Atlanta. I I think after that week 1 loss to Tampa, that was pretty egregious. You follow it up with, like, a nice calm win. Like, the way their wins are gonna look is heavy, heavy Bijan. I think their defense is a little bit better than we had anticipated it to be, and Penix is just gonna have to make a handful of throws throughout the course of a game. And I think that formula against Carolina, I think you can run the ball pretty effectively on them. I think your defense can get after it and get Bryce Young uncomfortable, and you're not gonna be asking Penix to do a whole ton. I'm gonna take Atlanta minus 5.5. It's a big line, but I'm gonna ride with it.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take Carolina, Michael. There's a big. So the big thing is teams that are 0-2 cover the spread
You tend to cover the spread, yes.
like an 80% rate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, division game. I mean, to last. I mean, this is another divisional game.
Home divisional underdog, yeah.
Home division underdog on the road, laying points. Falcons. I mean, here's the thing, though, man. Like the Falcons really impressed me on Sunday night last
Mhm.
week with their defense. I think it just might be because JJ McCarthy is just still
I mean, I just think he's bad,
learning.
man.
I think
I
it's
don't
just
think he
bad. I
was.
think Bryce Young's. I mean, Bryce Young, Michael. He's got like 30 starts under his belt too. It's not like he's making his second career start here. You know, that you saw he was getting some building chemistry with Ted McMillan.
I
Here's the
mean, he
thing
was
though. Here's the thing with Atlanta though.
50
Their
passes,
pass
man.
rush is way better than it's been the last couple years, right?
Mhm.
Bryce Young was being harassed by the Cardinals when they played the Cardinals. Like Josh Sweat was playing like looking like kind of doing what Josh Sweat does the first half of every season. He looks great.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I'm still sticking with Carolina. I'm still sticking with Carolina on that one.
Next game we have here is suddenly a lot more interesting. I listen, we have the Raiders and the Commanders in Washington. This game was already I was already feeling the Raiders a little bit. And then the news drops that Jane Daniels is going to be out Sunday as it was presumed. And that line has really shortened now to 2.5 points. Favored still Washington with Marcus Mariota at quarterback. I'm taking the Raiders, man. I just Washington, the first 2 weeks have not really moved me. Um, and Jaden Daniels in that Thursday night game against Green Bay was really taking a beating. And I felt that, I saw the play he got hurt on. They left him in the game, and it felt like he was getting really, really pummeled. I said it last week that I feel like this is the year he gets like actually hurt, and it just feels like it's gonna happen. He's gonna come back in a week or 2, and in not so long, I think there's gonna be something that happens. It's just a prediction at this point that he's going to be taking way too many hits, and even if it's not a hard hit, it's going to be him trying to scramble, and his ankle gets tugged or rolled or something like that, and then he's going to miss some extended time. So, and I don't think they're going to have the offensive scheme to kind of withstand that. We saw that goofy little Cliff Kingsbury like cycle image, and we're in the part of like figuring it out. Maybe the quarterback's not as good, whatever. I don't think it's going to be very successful with the backup. I'm taking the Raiders, man, because the Raiders defense has decently impressed me those first couple weeks. I think Washington's defense is a pretty good matchup for
I
Geno to
think
get his feet back under him.
I think so. Chip Kelly got in the year 2025. Man, Chip Kelly
Hmm.
is the offensive coordinator for the Raiders.
Hmm.
Um, Asked why they weren't featuring Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty more in their offense, and he said they're doing. He's good for a soundbite. You got to admit that, right? He said
Sure, I
he
guess.
used the term load management,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like, they're 1-1. I mean, Geno Smith. Everyone was like, "Oh, Geno Smith sucks." Like I saw like Seahawks accounts, and I'm like,
yeah.
you would kill to have Geno Smith as your quarterback right now. Sam Darnold blows.
Right,
Like Sam Darnold stinks.
right.
Like he threw three. Like I think that Chargers defense is just really good. I can see Geno Smith having a big bounce back game this week. I'm going to take the Raiders as well on the road,
Yeah, I like that.
getting
I
two and
like the
a half.
Raiders this week. Next game we have is the Green Bay Packers on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Now, this game could reek of Cleveland covering,
Because
like
they're
the
0-2.
Packers. They're 0-2. Maybe the Packers play like sloppy on offense, like like we talked about this last week, and I think we talked about this over text mostly. The Packers, to me, it's not for nothing. It's such an impact what Micah Parsons has done to this team, where you looked at the Packers defense before the Parsons trade and you were like, listen, they got Edgerrin Cooper's is like a playmaker at the linebacker position. Xavier McKinney's a playmaker at the safety position. Their D line is like okay. They definitely need some edge help, but their corners were like viewed as a negative. It was not viewed as something like that great. And now all of a sudden, through 2 weeks, the Packers corners have looked awesome. And it's like, oh, I wonder if having the superstar pass rusher, Micah Parsons, that wrecks almost every snap that he's on the field, is having a positive impact on the cornerback room. And oh, shocker, the Cowboys defense against the Giants looks like the worst defense in the league. So I don't know. I think that the Packers defense is very, 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 very good. And I think their running game is pretty strong. I like their receiver room. I still think they can get more out of it. This team loses in the playoffs, and I will be very hard pressed to believe that it will be anyone's fault besides Jordan Love's. Like Jordan Love, I think has a nice ceiling. I think he's not afraid to push it down the field, which is a good trait to have. But I think his arm, while talented, is not like Mahomes or Allen or Lamar's, where they can make a lot of throws that a lot of guys can't. I don't think that Love he can also make a lot of throws that a lot of guys can't, but he can't make all the throws that those guys can make. And I think in his mind he thinks that, and that's where he gets to his bad turnovers. And I think that's how the Packers, if they do lose in the playoffs, that's how it's going to look. It's going to look like how it did against the Eagles last year, where if this is a big if, but like if you remove the 3 turnovers from Jordan Love in the playoff game against the Eagles, that game's probably a hell of a lot more sweaty for us as fans. You know what I mean? Um, and I just think that Jordan Love is prone to the big mega turnover game, and perhaps you get a little taste of it this week to really wrap it all up together. Maybe this game is close because Jordan Love throws a couple mind-boggling interceptions, but the defense is just so good for Green Bay that it doesn't matter and they still win. Well, all that being said, I am going to still take Green Bay to cover the 8.5. I do think they're a really good team, and I want them to kind of flex that and show how good they are, and not just start I think later in the year you might see them start just kind of taking their wins and moving on, kind of like the Eagles did at parts of last year. Whereas I think early they're going to want to sort of flex their muscle. So I'm taking Green Bay.
I'm taking Green Bay as well. This does kind of feel like the we're gonna make the switch to Dylan Gabriel because Joe Flacco is
Oof.
getting annihilated
Oof.
out there. Because like, here's the thing with Cleveland, man. I think they have a good defense. I think
Yeah.
their defense is good. It's their offense is so putrid that it sets them back on like how many 3-and-outs did Cleveland have? It felt like in that game against the Ravens, like
Yeah. Yeah.
and I know people are like, oh, but they gave up so many points. Yeah, when you're on the spending like 45 minutes on the field, like as a defense, like yeah, eventually you're going to give up points. It's going to
Right.
happen.
Right. The next game we have here is a couple of backup quarterbacks meeting up in Minnesota. The Bengals, led by Jake Browning, following Joe Burrow's likely 3-month injury with some grade 3 turf toe, will take on the Carson Wentz-led Minnesota Vikings following J.J. McCarthy's high ankle sprain, which I thought that was a
This is
little
I think I find this
shaky, but
highly intriguing.
this is super intriguing. The Vikings are 3-point favorites at home, which, like,
I think makes sense. That's classic, right? If this is
yeah, but home field, I saw a lot of Vegas people. Home field is not worth 3 points anymore. Like, home field is worth, like, about a point to a point and a half. So, like, they're saying on a neutral, this is like Cincinnati or Minnesota -2, and then they're at home, so -3.
so the
Like, in theory, you look at it from the phases of the game. The Vikings defense is a lot better than the Bengals defense, absolutely. The receiving core, yeah, the Bengals have the edge, but, like, it's not super, like, outlandish because Jefferson is just that good.
yeah, but I think T
Running
Higgins is better than any wide receiver they have active right
absolutely, it's not
now,
close,
especially
but
with
I
no
don't
Addison.
but when you're talking about backup quarterbacks and, like, the impact of it all, like, it's just a matter of dude, the Bengals offense was moving it with Jake Browning. He just threw some pretty awful turnovers. I I don't know where I'm at with this game. Like, I'm thinking of the Bengals are the play, but at the same time, feels like the Vikings defense can be pretty lethal, um, at getting after the
I'm gonna
quarterback, right?
Michael. I'm gonna say something that's gonna probably trigger some people. I think Carson Wentz has a really good game tomorrow.
Oh.
'Cause I know everyone hates Carson because he forced his way out of here, and I'm like, I wasn't happy as like everybody else. But listen, man, Kevin O'Connell,
If
you
there was
cannot
ever a
deny the fact that
situation
when it comes to like these like veteran quarterbacks that he brings in, like there's some sort of like recovery there. This is going
if there
back
yeah,
to McVay. Remember McVay brought in Baker Mayfield 2 days before he had to play a Thursday game,
right.
right? Baker then goes to Tampa after that to compete for the starting job. He wins the job.
Listen,
And now everyone's like, "Oh my God, Baker Mayfield!"
if there was ever an
Daniel Jones
opportunity
last year signs with the Vikings midseason, goes to the Colts, beats Anthony Richardson out
if
for the
there
starting
was
job.
yeah, if there was ever a situation for Wentz to, like,
This is Carson
thrive
Wentz's
in
last chance of being an NFL starting quarterback, most likely.
yeah, yeah.
In terms
So,
of like, if he's gonna go somewhere else, he's gonna get a chance to be a starter somewhere else. Or
yeah.
Michael, or what if he throws 4 touchdowns? What if he throws like 4 touchdowns tomorrow? Are they going to be rushing to
What if,
throw
man?
JJ McCarthy and back in there? Doesn't this feel
No,
like
I
this is
mean,
sort of like a soft benching?
that's what I was thinking too, because I was trying to watch to see, like, where he
Because he's
looked like
been
he was
bad for 7 of
limping.
the last 8 quarters he's quarterbacked in.
I mean, and not for nothing, the 4th quarter wasn't some masterclass either from JJ. Like, I think it's overblown that his 4th quarter he had against the Bears was any good. Like, it just wasn't. It was fine.
Well,
It
I think the
wasn't
fact that
great.
the Chicago Bears got annihilated by the Lions the following weeks maybe it just indicate that the Bears are a
I
bottom
mean, JJ
five
McCarthy just is
team.
horrible. I think that's just JJ McCarthy sucks. Like, he's one of the 5 worst starters in the league, and I think that's pretty clear. So yeah, I guess I'll take Minnesota too. I do think if there's ever a situation, but I don't love that enough to probably like wager on it. I feel like this backup quarterbacks, a lot of stuff can go haywire. So we have the Eagles game next. Do we want to save that one?
Yeah, we'll save that one.
Okay. So next we have the Steelers and the Patriots. What used to be so good is now that. The Patriots are 1.5 point underdogs at home. Steelers are 1.5 point favorites. See, the Steelers have just not looked good. Like, they played well
Their
against the
defense looks
Jets
horrific.
offensively. Yeah, and, like, they had the mental mistakes going on against Seattle. Their defense really does look cooked. Rodgers, doesn't look great. Like, he just looks what he is. And, like, New England, they look pretty solid against Miami. Granted, Miami's horrible, so there's
Eh,
that. I
they're
I think
still
I'm
a
just
work in
gonna
progress, I
I
think.
think I'm just gonna take the Patriots plus 1.5 and at home because why am I taking Pittsburgh ever this year, you know?
You know,
I thought Drake May looked quite good, I'll say, against Miami. I did think he looked very good.
of course he did. Guess you, yeah, and then Josh Allen on look through 4 touchdowns looked like he looked disinterested half that game on Thursday. The Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion.
Sure.
So I don't know. Man, the Steelers had probably one of the biggest NFL follies I've ever seen. With that,
Yeah, that was
that was like
that's
very.
that takes you back to SportsCenter, not top 10, like yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna take the Steelers against my better judgment here because they looked really bad on defense the last 2 weeks. And look, this Patriot offense, like I think Drake May and Cam Ward have the same problem as in that problem being bad offensive coaching and just pure lack of talent on
So you're
offense.
taking New England with that or Pittsburgh?
I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Okay. Minus 1.5 at home.
You're
They're
going to
on the
see
road.
people complain, why is Josh McDaniels coaching Drake May? Like he's wasting.
Sure. A
Yeah.
couple more 1 o'clocks here. We have the New York Jets on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the
Now, is
Bucks
this
are
going to be a trap game for Tampa? Because next week,
sure. I guess
their
they're looking
penciled
ahead.
in win against the Eagles is happening, you know?
Yeah, we're like not for nothing. Tampa's another team that they haven't moved me, man. I don't think Baker has played like particularly great. I think he's put together a couple drives at the end of games, and he's made some big time throws for sure. But like from a start to finish, Baker's just not impressing me, like, kind of at all. He's still taking a lot of bad sacks. He's still a little questionable with some decision making, and it's like he just kinda turns it up for the last drive, and he uses his legs and stuff, but it's like, that dude, that safety on Houston or nickel player had a free run at him, and he just totally whiffed. Like, that was one of the worst tackle attempts on a blitz I'd ever seen. He decided he was gonna run as fast as he can directly at Baker, and essentially, it was just like, I'm just hoping that he doesn't see me or doesn't move when I get there, because I'm going way too fast that there's no way I can change direction if he tries to move or escape. And what happens? Baker gives, like, this half-ass, like, step up, and it sends the defender going flying past him, and it's like, "Dude, that was the sack that ends the game. It's 4th and 10. That ends the game right there, and you whiff brutally," and he goes on and pushes the ball, and they eventually go it down and score the game-winning touchdown. Also, Nick Chubb. I was watching this game live on the plane of coming home from this weekend, and Nick Chubb, buddy, you wanna slide? I get it, you've been struggling to kinda move the ball downfield, but what happens if you slide and take it down to the 2-minute warning, and then you push it in, whatever, with under 2 minutes to go or under a minute? The game's over then, but you scored with way too much time left on the clock. Like, that was the Buccaneers needed every second they could get. Like, I don't understand, or make them use some of their timeouts. They didn't burn all their timeout. Maybe make them use a couple when they don't want to. I just felt that I felt that the Texans kind of handed this to them, and I think that way too many people are crowning Tampa as like, oh, this great team, when it's like they're Kadero Hodge getting his head around and like a non-disaster end of game management by Houston and a whiffed sack away from being 0-2. It's not like they've far from dominated in their first 2 weeks, that's for sure. And you know, a lot of teams they could say that about. You could say that
I'm
about
gonna
the
I'm
Eagles,
gonna take the
but
Jets to cover this game.
I think I am too, man. I'm just
It
so
does.
not
It
moved by
honestly
Tampa.
feels like there is trap game vibes. I feel like
Mhm.
with this game for Tampa. And to your point, I like Aaron Glenn. After they had that rough game against the
Love Aaron Glenn, yeah.
Aaron Glenn's like it's I take full responsibility for this because I thought we had a good game plan that we cooked up. Obviously, it didn't work.
Mhm.
We need to do better. Offensive. Justin Fields got hurt. I mean, listen, man, the Jets can run the ball and they should play better defense, in my opinion. They should be playing better. I think they have a great edge. They have a great pass rush. I think Will McDonald's really good. Quinnen Williams is one of the most underrated players in football, I think.
And they should be able to get after
They
Tampa.
have
I think
Sauce, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Alright. God, every team's bleeding into each other. Now, another divisional matchup, we have the Texans and the Jags. The Jags, yeesh, both teams, yeesh, honestly. The Texans are 0-2, and, like, their lack of offensive line feels like it's gonna be enough to sink them this year, and this is a pretty pivotal game, I think, for the state of that division. It's hard. Only so many teams make the playoffs starting 0-2. That number is very, very small if you start 0-3. Lucky for them, the Jags, like, totally choked a loss up to the Bengals this past week. Brian Thomas Jr. got popped in the preseason, and now he's, like, afraid of any sort of contact. There was, like, 6 plays of him taking his eye off the ball or alligator arming it because he doesn't want to get hit over the middle, and like totally looks like he has the yips, which is crazy considering how good he was last season and how good everyone expected him to be this season. Trevor Lawrence might just not be the guy that everyone thought he was going to be. Not that it's like, oh, late to that party or whatever, but Liam Cohen seems really frustrated with that. It just What he's doing really well, Cohen is getting ETN involved. Travis Etienne looks really, really good. Besides that, though, defensively, they kinda need some more help. It feels like they're kinda screwing up how they're using Travis Hunter. I feel like they're trying to give him it's like a week by week basis, but I don't think you're getting enough out of him. You're only putting him in there on certain situations on either side, and I just think you might be better off leaning him very hard on one side to actually get the most out of him. And I think that might need to be offense for now. I don't know. I
No,
just think
I love
they're not
Houston.
handling it.
I like Houston on the road for this.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Because I do feel like Houston. I mean, Rams and then Bucks. That's when you're trying to patch together a brand new offensive line. Michael, that's tough. Those are two teams like that. If you're trying to debut a brand new offensive line from scratch, like that's tough. That's really
Mhm.
tough.
Yeah, no, for sure.
With that being said, CJ Stroud, a lot of people are just now crapping on him after he had a really good rookie year. This doesn't this kind of feel like Nico Collins is going to have a monster game.
Yeah, he's just way too good to keep off the stat sheet. I think their offense just needs to be better. And I think a lot of it's the offensive line, but I feel like also they're just not on the same page. Like when they do get the rare occasion of the guy open and some time to throw, Stroud's not totally letting it rip, or he's maybe a little inaccurate. They had that total disaster set of downs at the goal line um, in that game on
Do you feel
Monday.
like Liam Cohen is getting maybe somewhat too cute on offense, where it's like,
No, I
okay,
just think he's being let down. Like how many drops, how many guys in the end zone that, and it was like Brian Thomas was like the massive culprit as to why they lost that game against the Bengals. Like, ball in the end zone that Lawrence puts in a good spot, and it just looks like a bad throw because of how poorly Brian Thomas went to attack it, so he didn't, like, expose his ribs to it. Like, he coulda just reached up with his hands at the one ball and caught it and drug his feet, but he kinda jumped because he wanted to, like, protect his body by catching it into his body as opposed to, like, exposing his whole, and it's just like, dude, it wasn't like a suicide pass or anything. Like, you gotta go make a play. You're supposed to be that
I mean,
guy.
we have seen Trevor Lawrence though in the past throw some like the most egregious hospital balls in the
Sure, but,
NFL.
like, Jesus,
So they're
man,
not
you
on the
can't be,
same
like,
page.
allergic to it.
They're not on the
Yeah,
same
like,
page. Like Trevor Lawrence's quarterback rating, not throwing to BTJ is like really good, but when he throws it to PTJ, it's like really bad. And you're wondering, they need to get on the same page. We're going to talk
I
about
mean,
another.
that 4th down drop that cost him the game was Brian Thomas turning his head before he secured the football. Like, there was another slant that he caught that he just goes down. It's like, you coulda ran for a big game after. I don't know. He's in his own head. He needs to talk to somebody to get out of this. But all right, yeah, we're both going Houston there.
Yes,
It does feel unlikely that they start 0-3. I do have to say. Broncos Chargers, 4 o'clock window
battle for
opening
the
up
AFC
here.
West.
Chargers looking to start 3-0. Broncos, with their first divisional matchup, looking to win a road game. 2.5-point favorites the Chargers are. I'm taking the Chargers, man. The Broncos, Bo Nix has looked awful to me. He's really, really, really looked terrible. The Broncos
Oh
really probably
wow!
should be 0
No,
2.
I feel like I feel like every week Bo Nix slander just comes out of your mouth hole.
He's just not good, man. And the Chargers actually look very good and maybe do have a legitimate shot to take the AFC West crown from the Chiefs for once. Herbert's looking really, really good. Their defense looks awesome.
Can I paint a
They're
picture
not able
for
to
you?
run the ball, which is a bit of a concern, but I just think that they should just throw it more. I don't know. Just let the ball be in Herbert's hands more and kind of and roll with that. Live and die by that.
All right, man. The last time, would you like to take a stab at the last time the Chargers started out 3-0?
Well, I mean, if I'm assuming Philip Rivers was the quarterback, right?
No.
Philip Rivers?
Uh-huh.
Yeesh. Oh man. Well, what are we looking at? Like Kellen Winslow days?
No, not that far back.
Okay. What year?
2002.
Yeesh,
Their
man.
quarterback was Drew Brees.
I guess I.
Drew Brees,
Well,
Danian Thompson. That was actually pre-Antonio Gates, who's a Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame.
so now's the time, I guess, right?
I suppose. Well, I'm going the other way here. I'm actually taking Denver. I'm gonna give you a couple reasons why.
Trusting Bo Nix.
No, well, I so like Jim Harbaugh, I feel like has always gotten the better of Sean Payton, right? This is going back to like the Niners in the playoffs when they play the Saints. Saints would go up
Hmm.
to San Fran and struggle there.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of Broncos fans at this game.
Yes.
There's gonna be a lot of them there. And
Yes.
I do think you mentioned like, oh, home field doesn't matter. I think depending on who the fan base is, I think it could help out,
Hmm.
right? Does kind of feel like if you're a Chargers player, it has to annoy you when you play a home game and you see the other team's fans there almost every week, right?
Yes.
It has to annoy you. I will say this in this game is that I do think you saw last week the Broncos should have beaten the Colts. Like, let's be realistic here. Yes, they should have beaten them. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I guess, man.
They missed a
The
chip shot
Titans,
field
Titans
goal.
should have
They
beaten
missed
them.
kind of like a semi chip shot field goal, and then on a 60-yard field goal, they got called for leaping. That gets called like once a year, right?
Well, shouldn't
Leaping,
have leaped. Shouldn't have
leaping
leveraged.
on a 60-yard field goal.
Shouldn't have
Anyway,
leveraged.
like I'm taking Denver here. I do
Okay.
think. Listen, man, I will not trust the Chargers until they can prove they can stop charging it up.
Next game up. This game blows. I have no intention or interest to tune into this one. The New Orleans Saints are on the road to take on the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 7.5 point
Man,
favorites at
why are
home.
they? Well,
That
okay.
feels huge, right?
Like I think Mike McDonald is like a bottom 5 head coach. Personally, I don't
Well,
like just a hint. Like I do think the Niners. This is funny. It's like teams that lost to the Niners because reasons.
sure.
I mean, this Saints team, they've looked plucky. Well, the term I say is plucky the first 2 weeks where people thought they were going to get annihilated. They didn't get annihilated last week because the Niners literally have no healthy players.
Right, Mac Jones.
And the week before, they, like the Cardinals, just, I don't know, like Gannoned it up. They were just like, why didn't we just blow them out?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see why they're getting 7.5. They're playing
I'm
in
taking
Seattle.
Seattle, but
They
I
played
do
2 straight
not
home
like
games.
it.
The Saints, I mean, listen, I know we hate the Saints because of like the Sean Payton days. They do have home field advantage in that dome. They do. Now they're going in one of the other hardest places to play in the NFL. Sorry, Michael, it just is in Seattle. It's one of the hardest places to play. I'm going to take
Local
Seattle.
Seattle fans have said it's gotten a lot. You saw how red it was week 1 against the Niners. Those fans
I
suck
don't
out
really
there.
see many Saints fans traveling to
Yeah,
this game.
we'll see, man. No, listen, I'm taking Seattle too. I guess I'm probably not going to be placing a wager on this game either.
I
This
wonder if
feels like
did you see
a
like JSN's
mess.
target share is like so absurd. Like he's
No, and
target.
that's good. I mean, they should push the ball to him. He is just that good.
Oh boy. This next.
Um, Yeah, this next game, we have the Dallas Cowboys on the road against Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears, they need a win. Cowboys are 1.5 point favorites. Bears are 0-2. They have not looked good.
I am shocked that Cowboys are not laying more points. That means everyone's just loading up
Yeah, but it's
on
on
the
the
Cowboys.
road. And like the Cowboys, it's tough, man. Um, Hold on. I just think that I'm taking the Bears plus 1.5.
Whoa!
Maybe I have no reason to, but are they really gonna start 0-3? This is like their 3rd straight year of being the off-season champions, and,
I lived through it with the Dan
is
Snyder
things really
Redskin
gonna
days. I
be
don't see why
are
not.
things
They can't go
really gonna be
0-3.
that bad? Maybe it is just gonna be that bad, but I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say that the Bear listen, I will say this, a genuine belief of mine is that the Cowboys defense is horrible, and the more time goes on, the more we're gonna look back at week 1 and be like, "The Eagles' offense really should have been better." And I think that the Giants putting up 40 and then the Bears winning maybe a shootout this week is really gonna lay on some damn, maybe you know, Cowboys defense to me is gonna be bottom 5 this year. It might be the worst in the league. So, I
Would
think
you
the
look at here
Bears
all the
have a good
players?
matchup
Would
to
you look
break
at here
out of it.
some of the players that will not be on the Chicago Bears playing defense for the Chicago Bears tomorrow?
That's gonna be a shootout.
Yeah,
Jalen
here's
Johnson's out,
yeah,
right?
but I don't. Yeah, Caleb Williams has started 19 games and he's been like one of the least efficient quarterbacks in like 90% of them.
He's gonna be just slinging that rock, man.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
Swift
here's
gonna have a big
this is kind of
day.
I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to tell you why I'm taking the Cowboys. Like, Dak Prescott, if I would feel really good about that 240K parlay I made if Joe Burrow's foot didn't explode last week.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dak Prescott is going to win that award. He's going to
Yeah.
win Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He just is. I'm sorry. Like, everyone's like, oh, but what if? No.
No, it's yeah. Okay.
Dak's winning that award. Like, that is like
Sure. Sure.
right. Like, he's going to carve this team up. Like, this is the tip. This is the perfect, like, CeeDee Lamb, like, 15 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, oh, like, this is why CeeDee Lamb's really good, because that's what the Cowboys do. They love running
Mm-hmm.
the score up on bad teams. They love putting up big points on bad teams. Case in point, last week against the Giants. But to your point, their defense is shambolic.
Right.
Now, if there is a game, like if Caleb Williams goes out and plays like dog crap, Michael, I don't. I think Ben Johnson might bench him at some point this year, because you look at Ben Johnson, like Ben Johnson and Caleb have the worst body language of a head coach and quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, they do not do a good job at hiding their true feelings. Neither of those two guys do. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to monitor if they do end up getting blown out or something, and Caleb doesn't look good. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to give him a couple weeks off. But yeah, to close out the 4 o'clock slate, we have the Arizona Cardinals on the road to take on the 49ers. The Niners are 2.5 point favorites, even still with Mac Jones at quarterback. That feels a bit insane to me, I'll be honest, like,
Well, also,
I'm
McCaffrey's dinged up.
I'm taking
He's going to
Arizona,
play.
and, like, I'm not even thinking about it, right? Like, I the Cardinals, they haven't looked amazing per se, but they've looked, like, pretty good, and their pass rush against the Panthers was lethal last week, and, Kyler was able to make some plays, they were able to get out there with a win. I think this is one of those Cardinals years where they start out with a really good record and then maybe fizzle, but since the NFC West is as banged up and old as it is, there's still a good chance that they could make the playoffs or potentially even win that division. And I think this is a huge spot for them to start 3-0. I don't know. I think Mac Jones looked solid last week. I don't think you're going to get that again. I think this Cardinals defense is a lot better than that Saints defense.
I agree. I'm taking the Cardinals as well. If there is one thing Jonathan Gannon was really good at, Michael, when he was here, is when the Eagles would play a bad quarterback, that they would put that bad quarterback in absolute hell.
Yeah, the pass rush, man. Like if they got
Well,
after
just as like
Bryce Young.
zone coverages too. Like you saw, like
Yeah,
remember his first year, you're like, geez, John, like he's so creative on defense. Where the hell was this last
yeah,
year or 2
right,
years ago?
right. No, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, not much to talk about there with Mac. Now we're on to prime time. Ah. The Giants hosting Sunday Night Football. Don't know who thought this was a good idea, but maybe it'll be interesting. The Kansas City Chiefs are in New York to play the Giants. Couple of 0-2 teams going at it on Sunday Night Football. This is like I think this is what the first time that we've had two 0-2 teams on Sunday Night Football week 3 since like 2003 or something. Like it's really been a long time. Maybe it wasn't that long ago, but it's been quite a long time since we've had this sort of situation. Chiefs are 6 point road favorites.
Just say
Like
it.
I was with Chiefs fans for a while this weekend, and like some intelligent Chiefs fans, like they're talking about the genuine state of their team and their frustrations, and like a very valid point of theirs is like, listen, we're down our top two receivers. We're all like the passing game is shaky as is, but you take away like the two best weapons that we got, it's gonna just be worse. And like it is just gonna be worse. They are frustrated with the lack of investment into the running back room. Isaiah Pacheco was obviously very good his rookie year, but
He's the
after
worst
that
running back in football.
after that
Starting running back in
devastating
football.
yeah, after that devastating injury,
He's cooked.
he's just not been the same. And Kareem Hunt is like as washed gets. He can still do some things nicely, but like he's not breaking
Yeah,
off.
the
Like the
Kansas City
Chiefs,
Chiefs are a prime candidate to trade for a running back at the trade deadline, I would
And
say.
it's like they just could have, like Brian Robinson was available. That would have been an
Well,
improvement,
he's not that much he's better than those
Um,
two, but I don't think by
that's
that
my
much.
point. Javonte Williams would have been an improvement. Rico Dowdle could have been an improvement. Like, there were guys that were
What about all
not
the guys that
good,
were available to be drafted?
also all that,
Like
exactly. So
Bashaw Tutin
the
or
the the lack of investing in the running back position has very much frustrated Chiefs fans, and it really hamstrings your running game because even if you block it well, you're just not getting an explosive run play because none of those guys have bursts. They have, like, negative bursts. So I look at this game and I'm like, there's no way the Chiefs start 0-3. There's just no conceivable way that that happens. But what I can see happening is this game isn't like a total rout. Like, to me, the score is the Chiefs win like 20-9,
wow.
and they cover, but you don't feel good about it. So yeah, give me KC -6.
I'm taking the Giants to cover, not to win, but to cover. This is kind of my thought process. Defensively, like they just looked like shambolic against the Cowboys. The fact, and I think, like I've said to you, I think Dable's a horrible head coach.
Yes, I'm a Dable defender.
Yeah, you cannot, you need to stop defending that man.
Listen, his offense just put up 40.
Michael, Daniel Jones was coached by that man for like 4 years, and now he goes to Shane Steichen, who, Michael, Shane Steichen should have been fired last year.
Well, look at Russ, man. Hung 40, dropping some moon balls out there in Jerry
That's all he
World.
can do is throw 50-yard passes. He can't throw anything shorter than that. He throws either behind the line of scrimmage or 40 yards downfield. Like,
No, I hear you. No, I hear you.
do you
I don't
think
know.
because the
Hey,
Chief? Do
I'm
you think
not
because
excited for that Sunday night
of
game.
Chiefs saltiness from the previous? Like, I've lived this with Andy Reid, where we would lose games and guys would be like, "Oh, well, we should have won if they only won because and they would just spiral."
Mhm,
And I think they're gonna win, but they're gonna win like the ugliest way possible. It's gonna be because Patrick Mahomes makes 5 big plays every game, and
mhm,
the Chiefs defense balls out.
mhm.
Spags has returned to New York, where he was the defensive coordinator there, helped them win the Super Bowl. I think one Super Bowl. Look, man, I will say this. This is going to be the third time in my life I'm actually rooting for the New York Giants to win a football game. Because after the league, literally, like basically the commissioner of the sport telling Adam Schefter to go on national television, oh, this game was lost in March because of the tush push. Like, that to me is sort of like, I want to see the chaos, Michael. I want to see the chaos of the Kansas City Chiefs. What if they lose this game? Could you
Wha
imagine? Could you imagine
I
there's like the league won't let them lose this game.
No, if
This
they
is
lose this game, it'll be
could
like
you imagine if the Chiefs win
players
this
only
game on?
meeting,
Could you
like, it'll
imagine if
be ugly.
The Chiefs win this game on an egregious like penalty called?
Oh, like a gift?
Like
That
like Mahomes
that'd be
is
very
drifting
funny.
out of bounds and like Kayvon Thibodeau just like shoulder bumps him and Mahomes does like the worst flop you've ever seen and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
win
yeah,
and they're gonna be the Chiefs fans are gonna be like, yeah, we should
yeah.
have beaten the Eagles last week. We'd be 2-1.
I
It's like
mean, I'll be honest, I don't the Chiefs fans I was with did not think they deserved to win that game against the Eagles. Like, and I'll be honest, I don't think the Chiefs fans are as whiny as you may be as you
oh
may see on Twitter.
you think it's
Like,
like if they're like online, terminally online.
yeah, those are not the people that I was in. Like, the people at the stadium were like, it was a mix of like, listen, we're down our top two receivers. It's pretty ugly out here, and then also like it's a lot of self-frustration. It's a lot of, "I can't believe we let the weapons get this bad." Like, a lot of, like, Travis Kelce just can't drop a ball. Like, it's just Mahomes missing a couple guys, or a lot of it is Chiefs fans were not, like, whining or crying about it. Like,
Okay.
they were whining about their
I'm
own
gonna say
team.
one last thing. We'll do the Eagles game, then wrap this up. This
Well, yeah,
does.
yeah,
Oh, with the Monday
we
night
have a
game.
Monday night
Sorry.
game. Yeah.
I do feel like this is going to be the definitive. Malik Neighbors is a better wide receiver than Marvin Harrison Jr. I know we both know that's true right now,
No, sure. Yeah,
but
yeah.
like this is going to be like the oh my god, he's like a top five
No,
wide
Neighbors is
receiver.
knocking on the door if he's not there already. That's
Because
for
everyone was
sure.
talking about BT. We talked about like the offensive player of the year, like the dark horses. Like you said, BTJ. That ain't happening. That is not happening.
No, not as it stands. But
That is not
Malik
happening.
Neighbors, dude,
I said as a dark
Neighbors
horse,
is
Malik
super
Neighbors is a
talented.
potential. You know,
Neighbors is super talented. He's like a gymnast, watching him go up and put his hands on a ball and the way he's able to kind of
he's legitimately
the
open
body
every play.
control, the body control is freakish. So yeah. Now Monday night game, probably the best game this week. The Detroit
Oh yeah,
Lions
the what the
in
hell do these head coaches do? Bowl.
in Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Ravens are 4.5 points at home, 4.5 point favorites at home. I'm taking Baltimore, man. Like Detroit, they did their loser shit against the Bears. I'll be honest. Like they blew them out. But my God, the fans F Ben Johnson. Who the hell are you, man? He stayed another year when he should have left the first time. And then you tell him to go F himself. When you want to talk about franchise turnaround, he's a damn big reason the
I think
franchise
it's because
doesn't
he went to
suck
the
anymore.
Bears. That's a
Sure, man.
That's
Okay,
one of the
sorry.
oldest rivalries in the NFL, Michael. They've been rivals since like the 20s.
All right, man. Like I just think that like
Would you
whatever. You
say
run it.
F. Kellen?
They're
Would you
running
say
up the
F.
score.
Kellen Moore if we lost the Super Bowl and he went to go coach the Cowboys?
But we didn't lose the Super Bowl. We're not losers like the Lions are. I can't relate to that. That's the big
Okay. Oh,
difference.
all right, whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, and you agree with that sentiment as well. So no, I wouldn't hate him because if Shane Steichen went to
Yeah, that was a
Dallas,
little over the
I'd be like,
top. They
no.
should have been like, please, why did you leave?
It's just like and like they ran up the score on them. Like I just
Well, what
they're
else is new?
losers,
That's what they
dude.
do.
That's what I'm saying. They're
Serious
losers.
kneecap biting.
You have Amon-Ra, like, joking around because Avonte Maddox is like, "Man, you guys practice really hard, a lot harder than we do," and it's like, they're wearing that like, "Yeah, we're tough. We're Detroit. We're tough." And it's like, "Yeah, man, you also have your whole defense on IR by December, so congratulations for your
Yeah,
hard
but it's
practicing."
September. This is kind of when they. This is when they look good.
Whatever. I'm so sick of their shit. I hope the Ravens beat them by 50 like they did a few years ago.
Oh boy.
I'm taking Baltimore minus 4.5. They're just a better team too. Like,
I would love to
did
see Lamar Jackson's primetime stats. I bet you it's like absurd.
oh, dude, and, like, especially, I think Monday Night Football.
All right, let's go to
Um,
Lamar stats. Lamar Jackson games in primetime. Let's. Oh boy. Ooh. Oh wait, no. This is just regular. No, stat news is so
Lamar
annoying.
Jackson on Monday night is 7-2 with 22 touchdowns and no interceptions.
That's absurd.
Yeah,
That's
man.
ridiculous.
Come on,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay. The only
9
reason I
games,
would.
he has a passer rating of 124.3 with 22 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, that's lethal, and I'm sure he's got great rushing numbers behind it. His first career Monday night game was that, Ravens Rams game in the Coliseum where he was 15 of 20 for a buck 69 and 5 touchdowns. And then also notable in 2021, he went 37 of 43, 86% completion percentage, by the way, on 43 pass attempts for 442 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, no picks against the Colts. And then last year on Monday night against Tampa, 17 of 22, 281 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Yeah,
Listen,
man.
Michael.
Give
There's
me the
only one test,
Ravens.
Michael. I'm gonna take the Ravens, but you know what? The thought that popped in my head was
Hmm.
John Harbaugh has blown so many double digit leads. Like, what if, like, Michael, what
I'm
if,
curious to know
what if
what
they
his
do
go
it
ahead, keep
again?
going.
What if they do it again? They like benched Jair Alexander last week. He was benched.
So last year they won 30-23 on Monday night against the Chargers. They won 41-31 against Tampa. If you remember, that was almost a choke. So funny you mentioned that because the Bucks scored like 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. That Niners game that was on Christmas, that was a shellacking. Um, they beat the Saints by 2
Like I know you
touchdowns.
hate the Lions, but you can't deny.
They beat the Colts in overtime. Oh, I remember that Wentz overtime game. That was so bad. In Indy, you remember that? Oh. So one of their losses was a 33-27 overtime loss against the Raiders in week 1 of Monday Night Football. Derek Carr threw for 435 passing yards. Ravens had 2 turnovers. Looks like it was a not his
I
fault
think
sort of
this is a
loss.
legitimate. I think this is a legitimate test for this Ravens defense, in my opinion,
Oof,
because
Lamar fumbled a lot that game.
assuming there isn't a hardball meltdown, like could you imagine if there's another hardball meltdown and
Mhm.
you're just like, I mean, at that point, like, I think the conversation is going to be how many years has Lamar Jackson wasted by having him as the head coach?
Potentially.
Like
Potentially.
7 years they've been together. And
Yeah.
like you just like Lamar Jackson's absurd stats. Like we saw all the like by the way, the not to because we completely kind of just went past the Bills Dolphins game.
Yeah.
The amount of Josh Allen glazing from Al Michaels saying, I know they're not the best team, but they're just so much fun to watch. Like, yeah, all right, Al, go take your Geritol, man. Like, give me a break. Like, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Um,
like that needs to be a conversation at some point. It could be Monday.
we'll see.
They're up 17 in the 4th quarter, and then Jameer Gibbs, like it's like a 70-yard touchdown run, and then like Isaiah likely fumbles, and
It'll
then
be interesting because I think their best method of playing, it's not like running up the score, but it's like don't settle your drives until you get into field goal range. Like that could be the sort of thing that you do. If you're up like multiple touchdowns in the 4th
do
quarter,
you think it felt like them soft benching Derrick Henry after he fumbled again was felt like a little disrespectful? Like he is
I
a
don't
like,
think it was a soft benching. I think that was like a that just I don't know, it's just kinda what they do at times, like, late in games in, like, those two-minute drill situations, he's just not on the field, you know? That's usually Justice Hill territory, but, yeah, so we'll be seeing. Alright, we have an Eagles game to talk about. They take on the Rams, 1 o'clock slate, which, like, 10 a.m. kickoff for local Rams fans, which is insane, but the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites at home. I'll be honest, John, I don't necessarily feel amazing about this week. Um, I feel pretty bad about the passing of offense at the moment. I think that it's we talk about this ad nauseum. It feels like every year, where it's like the Sirianni based scheme is not very good passing wise, and internal people means that it's a lot more like Sirianni than we'd like it to be. And we saw with an external hire, Kellen Moore, that while it did go through some ruts at times, and especially post bye, where their big unveiling was, we're going to throw it less and we're going to tell Jalen not to push anything because we know if we win the turnover battle, we're probably winning every week. So there's no reason to put that in jeopardy. And it feels like they're picking up right where that idea left off, but with the lack of creativity that even at a not a high rate, Kellen Moore did still provide. Um, so I will say, while it is only week 3 and a lot of things can change throughout the course of the year, I am concerned about the passing offense yet again. I am discouraged, honestly, that it seems like they're sitting on things like for the sake of saving it. it feels like they're sandbagging. Like, John, we're through 2 games here, and Jalen Hurts hasn't had a designed run that wasn't the tush push. Feels like just a lack of using your resources effectively. Like, they were so effective last year running their little counter bash, fake Saquon one way, tackles pulling the other way for Jalen to go follow for a
Oh,
big
you
run.
saw in the playoff game against the Rams.
I saw that in playoff game. You saw that just throughout the course of the regular season. That was a huge play for them. You know, the occasional quarterback draw, obviously not as much as Brian Johnson ran it, but the occasional one where it really does get you going in a good spot with Saquon as the lead blocker. You know, you scored a touchdown against Washington that way. The route tree differences between week 2 of last year and week 2 of this year for guys like Devonta Smith, disgusting. You have the best receiver duo in the NFL, and they've totaled, like, 100 receiving yards together. That's inexcusable, man. Like, that it's not worth it, I think, of, like, "Well, we just gotta do everything we can to win. We just gotta do everything we can to win." It's like you're purposely just
I know.
making it harder on
I
yourself.
mean, I think we've clearly seen the last few years, especially for the sake of health, they basically treat September like the preseason in a sense where they're literally gearing up in September because they got to play from October to January, right?
Dude,
The
like
Eagles, believe the Eagles are one of the only teams this week that are going to be playing all of their projected starters. If you looked at
Sure.
there's a ton of teams this week dealing with injuries. I mean, Michael, the Bengals played Joe Burrow for some reason in the preseason, and now he's out for the season. I know that he may come back like late December
Regardless.
at
Yeah,
the
no, I get it, yeah.
earliest,
But
but like I think my point is this is just what they do. This is just what they it's what they do.
and I think
I
it's
mean,
frustrating.
it worked last year because Michael. Let's be honest. Kellen Moore last year. Were you moved by Kellen Moore? Like people
Not
got
a
moved.
ton, but I was significantly more moved than this, and at least, like, the creativity in the run game. Like, it's the predictability that I don't like, and that it actually is, in fact, maybe intentional, that 90% of the time that they're, under center, they're running the ball, like,
Yes,
90% of the
I
time, and,
know.
like,
You
all
saw
those sets,
the.
they've thrown the ball at a pistol the first play of the game for 2 straight weeks now, and then every other time they're in pistol, it's a run play.
Do
Why
you think
can't
they're
we
doing
throw it
that?
at
Do
a
you think they're
pistol?
intentionally doing it so if they do it tomorrow, the Rams completely bite on. They run
Well,
something
that's my
completely
point.
different.
It's like, what are you saving it for? Are you saving it for the Ram game? Are you saving it for the Bills game? Are you saving it for the
Right?
first
Can I bring
Commander
up?
game?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Can I? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna change the subject a little bit to something here because we are picking against the spread,
Yeah.
and we do need to bring up some things. Are you curious about what teams that play that are West Coast teams that have to go and play a 1 o'clock game on the East Coast? Are you curious
Okay.
how they do against the spread? What their
Sure.
success
Let
rate
me
is?
know.
Uh, West Coast teams when they have to go play a 1 o'clock game. This is dating back to 2005 is what I have here. Now I don't know how recent this is because this is from like a betting site, but it kind of shows you what it is. They cover the spread at the rate of 29.6%. If you're a Rams fan, you should be pissed right now at this.
I was honestly shocked that they just didn't give him the 4 o'clock slate. I really am. I that's like the best thing the Eagles got going for them. Like, not that they're a bad team or whatever, but it's like the way the Rams have been cooking with their 2 star receivers. I think that can definitely apply some pressure on the Eagles. Sean McVay is going to be doing everything he can to get isolated matchups with Adoree Jackson and either Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams. Like, it's one of it would be hard pressed to think that Adoree Jackson's not going to get targeted like 12 times on Sunday, like, legitimately. Um, the Rams, like, run defense still isn't great, so the Eagles hopefully should be able to run the ball, but, like, it doesn't. I gotta, like, save myself from freaking out. it doesn't help that you're so predictable and you're doing half the work for the other team. So we don't know what they're saving it for, saying, "Oh, yeah, the Jalen runs will come," or, "Yeah, some more creativity, don't worry, it's coming," or, "The deep shots, don't worry, it's coming." It's like being so obvious what you are doing pre-snap based on your formation and personnel, it just tanks so much of what you're able to do. Like, yeah, man, if the Rams are certain that you're running the ball because you're in
I think the
pistol,
Rams are very. I think the vibe I get.
like John in that mic'd up, there was a clip in the Jalen mic'd up that I don't think it was Patullo. I don't know if it was the quarterback's coach. Someone was talking to him and was like, their linebackers are flowing real hard on the run game. Like and it's like you said it. You like revealed the answer to what they really need to do. And it's like run a effing play action pass for Christ's sake. Like have Jalen actually be under center or in the pistol and play action it.
Or just
Because
run
yes, the
shotgun,
linebackers
make inside zone, hit AJ
anything.
Brown on a
If the
slant.
linebackers are flowing that hard, that to me sounds like, "Oh, here's a free 20-yard completion on a little bootleg because they're guessing so hard on the run." Are we gonna see that on
Hey, Can
Sunday?
I
Maybe we will.
can I make a I just have something though. I have a beef though
Mhm.
that's you haven't brought up. Dude, what is so hard for the Eagles when Dallas Goedert is injured? Like they can't figure out that Grant Calcaterra is just so bad at blocking.
I mean, Calcaterra, there's no tight end that's been on the field for more rundowns the last 2 years than Grant Calcaterra. And he's a horrible blocker. Like, the first play of the game, I'll be honest, like, they had a touchdown, and while I'll give Jalen some blame for not, like, staying poised in the pocket after evading the first sack, because if he just steps up, there was so much grass in that pocket to step up into, and AJ was still running wide open down the field that he still could have launched and probably would have been a one-play touchdown to open up the game. Totally would have been a different vibe if you ask me. Um, but that play got blown up because Grant Calcaterra got totally cooked around the edge, and even Kylan Granson running across had no chance because Calcaterra put up 0 resistance, and Jalen avoids the sack, fumbles it off his own knee, but he needed to stay more poised and hit a big play down the field. It's like there's gonna be opportunities to take your shots, and I think the Eagles need to take them more. I'd rather live and die with Jalen and his arm as opposed to, like, not even running it at all. Like,
Well,
the
this
game
is the thing.
highlights that are
Like, this
go
is what's
ahead.
going to happen is that the Rams they will put 8 men in the box. Like that is a I would be absolutely shocked if they don't put
Wanna dare
loaded
the Eagles to
boxes up
throw, yeah,
after Saquon Barkley ran all over them. Like the two like I've never seen a running back run for close to 600 yards against a
right,
team playing him in 2 games,
right.
right? So and plus you look at the Rams, like look at the Rams offense. Here's what I find interesting is Stafford's back is jacked up. Like it didn't magically heal over the last 2 weeks. You saw against the Texans, Stafford was getting rid of the ball as fast as humanly possible because he knows if he gets lit up on a hit, it could that's all over, right?
Mhm, mhm.
They're playing against the Titans. The Titans were plucky; they hung in there. I think Stafford not being able to stand in there and just get blasted, you know, taking a deep shot play.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles' defense. I mean, haven't they didn't force that many turnovers so far. The big reason they were successful last year, they forced a ton of turnovers, right?
Yeah, it took them a while for them to start forcing them, but, like, once they started getting them, they started coming. They listen, they're I mean, not for nothing, John, you say they haven't, they're really 2-0 almost solely due to their turnovers. Like, Miles Sanders' fumble was a huge swing before the delay that the Cowboys were going in to take the lead, and then, obviously, the Travis Kelce drop that turned into an interception was the biggest reason why the Eagles won that game. So, yeah, they haven't, like, jumped a route interception yet, but, I mean, they're still forcing them. I think
I have a
If the
feeling this is
Eagles,
going to be a massive Jalen Carter game.
yeah, if the Eagles want to win this game, you need to do as best as you can to not you still can't give up the big plays. They might give up some longer methodical drives. Obviously, you don't have to worry about Stafford running the way you got to worry about Mahomes running because that's probably the biggest weakness in the Fangio defense is containing the quarterback's legs. So you won't have to deal with that this week, but you'll just have to deal with McVay, and dealing with Puka and Devontae Adams is going to be
Can I
very
bring up? I'm
difficult.
going to bring up one last point, then we'll wrap up the show. AJ Brown. He looks like he is frothing at the mouth to just have a monster game, and I do think there's going to be a lot of pressure. Like there is going to be a lot of pressure on. I think Sirianni because he's the head coach, but really Kevin Petula. Like you already have people saying,
You
"Oh,
got to get him
well,
the ball, man. You just for him to make such a point of like, yeah, like I write the numbers of our star players on my play sheet so I don't forget about them. Like I look and I see 11 and I'm like, yeah, we got to get the ball. It's like, dude, what? All right, man. Like now would be the time to f and do that. Like, have you not looked at your play sheet in a little bit? Did
well."
you
If you
forget
do
to write
you
his number down?
remember at the bye week after the Buccaneer disaster last year, Sirianni and Hertz met, and then Hertz had more input on the offense.
Sure.
I wonder if like,
Is this gonna have to happen again? Does this have to happen
or
every
maybe
freaking
it's already
year?
happening, and Kevin Petula is just that bad.
I I don't know. I'm picking the Eagles pretty reluctantly, but I am picking the
I'm
Eagles
picking
to
the
cover.
Rams because I feel like when I pick the Eagles, they just look like ass. So I'm picking the just to maybe out of like to get the juices going. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I hope it's not. I hope the Eagles just blow them out. It does feel. I mean, I don't know,
That
man.
feels unlikely.
It feels
But yeah,
unlikely. It does feel like though that like if I'm Sirianni, how much of a like a psycho he is. You don't
sure.
think in that locker room they're like, oh, we only win because of the tush push, huh? All right, let's make a statement. Like this could be like this needs like a statement game. Like as
Mhm.
in it might be next week in all honesty, right? It could be next week, right? Everyone's
Yeah,
gonna pick the Bucks, right?
right.
To win that game. This could be like a we're just tush push merchants. Oh, Jalen sucks. A dot charts. Oh, okay. We need to just go and punch the
I hope
Rams
so,
in the
man.
mouth.
I hope so. But we'll be seeing. All right,
All right.
well,
That's our show, everybody.
that's our
Thank you for
show.
tuning in, and have a great rest of your weekend.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.